you have a lot of people, holding their breath every time they see how news out of Russia ends up tanking stock markets, because so much of their livelihood is now based in far more risky forms of savings than back in the day of keeping cash holdings in a bank with a normal with a decent interest rate. So we've created a much more fragile environment in this regard. And when you have incidents like Russia invading Ukraine, which are not being priced in global markets, it's a very concerning situation. I'm also interested to see the dynamic to which, how does this change the policy landscape within the West when it comes to questions like energy development? Because again, we've seen, Putin's had no stronger ally in fortifying his weight within Europe than Greta Thunberg and all of these green parties that have pushed nations in Europe to close down nuclear power plants, to increase the cost of traditional oil production, things like that. I'm interested to see, does this lead to a pivot in European countries? Obviously, we've seen in America, this has become a major point within Republican circles. It is something that the Biden administration has not budged on. The optics, again, of going to Venezuela is interesting, particularly when you consider the political dynamics there of Hispanic support moving to the Republican Party. The Venezuelan population that is in the U.S. is probably not overly enthused at the idea of us trying to bail out the Maduro regime by purchasing their oil. While in the short term, the Biden administration may be committed to the Green New Deal style approach of the past, I have a very good feeling that after the 2022 election, that will no longer be the prevailing wisdom, at least of the legislative branch. And in much the same way, where I think there's a very good possibility that the consequences of politicized medicine during the era of COVID, right? Mandates, the grave polarization and how to treat COVID during that time. I think the damage that has done for the cause of universal single payer within America, which is one of those policies that was getting a very steady drumbeat, pushed by Bernie Sanders and his Medicare for All sort of platform. I think that's going to be much harder to pass now than it was in 2019. I think you could see a similar lasting impact on some of these green policies, which in the long run could be beneficial economically. Of course, that goes with the assumption that nuclear war does not erupt between here and there. Though it was interesting, there was a fascinating paper by a investment analysis fund highlighting that now is a good since the increase of risk of a nuclear war has gone up dramatically and affected prices. Now is a great time to buy long-term assets, because basically either there is no nuclear holocaust, in which case these assets are being underappreciated in value, or it is, and who cares what your investment platform is. So again, I am glad to see that even in times like this, there is some good commentary coming out there on how to properly take into account some of these beautiful challenges that 2022 has thrown to us.